Many thanks for choosing us. Canadia Polyclinic has been shut down. It is among dozens of facilities flooded following this morning's downpour. A number of major roads in Accra, including Teshi, Wager, Canadia and its environs, homes, property, including vehicles, have also been washed away by the flood. Let's start from the Canadia area, where NS Ahimfo of MyJoyOnline.com is stationed there. And it's described to us the current situation there. We'll be getting more from the Canadia area when NS joins us. My colleague Papani Shale has also been checking the extent of flooding in Teshi, where we understand a major bridge under construction has collapsed. Papani, what's the situation where you are?
We'll start again. At the bag. Was serious, catastrophic in many areas. At the moment, we are in Teshi, Adoemli, where a bridge along the beach road spanning from La all the way to Nungwa just collapsed in. We have some of the people here who will tell us exactly what happened, but just to describe the situation here, this is one of the new bridges that was being constructed along the beach road, and this is in Teshi. But at the moment, the main road that existed before the new construction would have come through, as you can see here, has caved in. Eyewitnesses here have been telling me, giving me conflicting issues, but I have one person here who says he was here when it all began, taking the initiative to even block the road. Up ahead, if you get to, after the naval office, after the traffic light, you have to take a bend into Nungwa, into Teshi, and appear somewhere in Nungwa. That is the situation. So you can see in your visuals right now the caved-in portion of the road. And not just what you are seeing, underneath the road as well, the sand has been scoured. The rainwaters have removed every single bit of sand. They're making it very difficult to trust and rely on for any vehicle coming through. I have Mate Ado here who will speak to me on what the situation exactly was around that time. Mate, how did this happen? What time was this? Okay, now Mate, so some bit of translation. Well, he tells me that over here the rains was serious somewhere 1 a.m. coming through to this early morning around 6 a.m. But this part of the bridge or this road came in somewhere around 4 a.m. Let me stick with that. So around 4 a.m. when you came here, what caused the road to actually came? Did you see that?
Yes. We are standing here. Let's stop for all the road said no car to don't pass here again. Because car should be no
she mean honey back me.
No back with the beach and feel that village beaches I get beach Konya and let gutter and let be. Because
So he's been saying that one of the biggest challenges of the construction that is happening here is the new bridge that you are putting underneath the road is too small. And that is very evident here, that the waterway here is floods the entire area, but this new bridge is just half of that particular expansion. They would have wished that it was bigger. Mate, no more came back actually lole ko hu ba you know naktamele ko
trailer government lole jeni lo make fan gba ni biye no le ko me ba woni kini won aga kwa ka kwa na ibe abagbo no stop lole jeni ke gbe ke tumo ko me
ni cement lole me time no ba yibe
cement lole ba yibe tumo two ko ke me ba two ko ke le di mu ba watch biye no one pa fa wa na akwa bi egbe awo wa.
So Mamate is one of the first people that were here just when this particular part of the road caved in. He tells me some heavy-duty vehicles used the stretch. At the time, the rains was serious, and that was what probably could have caused this part of the road, the portion of the road, to cave in here. Some of the residents have also been telling me that the design of this particular bridge, that it is way too small to contain the volume of water that comes through. There's a building here where probably the evidence of the height of the rains, what we're telling, that you can see a line on that blue building where when it rains, especially for a downpour like this, that is the level of the water. But this bridge is definitely not enough. I have one of those people who have been making those concerns on the construction of the bridge. But just by way of information, that some people from the construction company are here, the CGICOP folks. They are the people responsible for the construction of the beach road. Some of them are on site trying to assess the situation. Odukpa ofana no obafio. Okay, me bridge here. Sana me
bridge any new joke by your magnetic beton. No kuesani.
Manyo we blafo. Ofana we mo blafo fi am.
The bridge, the water is from the manet. It fall for the other side before it come this side. So when pressure where they come for this Aduemi community, the bridge where you do you have to raise them so that the handle is too big. But the handle is too small. So the side and side when when the pressure they come, the water they pass side more than under the bridge. That's why it break the bridge. So like they open it more so that it can big. So if the under two will be tall, the water pressure will you can feel pass under. But now the pressure will come, it pass for the side and side. That's why it break the whole the road.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So those are one of the concerns that has been making. That is here. The design of the place is here. So again, some people from the construction company are trying to do some work.
Papani Ashali there, bringing us reports from the Tertiary area. Let's move to Wager, where Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba reports that about a kilometer of eastbound section of the Accra-Kaswa highway has been rendered completely impassable. Maxwell Agbagba, what can you report from where you are?
I'm currently on the eastern-bound section of the Accra-Kaswa highway. So this stretch is a 3-lane stretch actually, but now has been completely rendered unmotorable for motorists. So for commuters and motorists heading to the central business district and other parts of Accra, those coming from Kaswa, they are unable to use the stretch as it stands now, as the road has been taken over completely by this silt, which is usually washed down some of the hills here in this area. Standing on this silt feels like a quicksand, and as you can see, these two articulated tracks got stuck here in this mud. 3 people are currently in the articulated track, and they tell me that they've been here since yesterday evening when it started raining. You can also see from the other side some persons scooping water out of their shops yesterday evening. And what we are seeing now is that the water has even receded a little bit. So this is a better version of what happened yesterday. But as you can see, a whole stretch of road rendered completely unmotorable. And now what is happening here is that vehicles on this part of the road heading to Accra and the central business district have been forced to use this lane. They are now forced to use the western bound stretch. So the western bound stretch, the road leading to Kaswa and its environs, has been reduced to just 1 lane to a particular point. But as you can see, this is the seriousness of what we're talking about. That is how deep the ties of this articulated track sunk into this mud that has taken over a portion of the road. So this is it. And I don't know if you can see what is happening at the other side. That's a police officer.
The road blocked at about 30 minutes time. We didn't even know what happened. We are on the road at the moment.
Yeah.
We saw the rain is high and we said that we should park small and wait. Other the rain will start off, then we move. After 30 minutes, this just can happen.
Wow.
After that, we came back to remove all these things. We tried to move, we couldn't.
You couldn't move.
That is why we sleep.
So what are you going to do, looking at how deep your ties have sunk into this mud?
You see the situation for yourself.
Yeah.
Look at all the tanks and the pipes.
Yeah.
Everything is sinking.
Yeah.
So we don't know how to, unless they help us.
Okay.
They come to our aid. Otherwise, we don't know what to do.
Okay.
Because I even get some shovel. You see what we are doing.
Yeah.
We tried, but we couldn't. So we have nothing to do unless they help us.
Unless they help you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. What's your name again? You say?
Ministry of Lands and Forestry Commission say checks from their outfit show no records of ownership of the alleged portions of the Achimota Forest Reserve and the Sakumono Ramsar site by the late Kojo Utofrie, also known as Sir John. A statement issued by the ministry says preliminary inquiries have revealed that the alleged will claimed to contain the purported parts of the said land is currently before the court. Here are further details of the statement shared today, May 24. And the ministry has also been given further details on the background and facts and the outrage they gazetted in the wake of the public scrutiny into the alleged sale, reclassification and other matters arising. Now, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources refers to the press statement dated 22nd May, in which the ministry committed to inquire into allegations relating to the acquisition of parcels of land at Achimota Forest and the Ramsar site by the late former Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Utofrie. Preliminary inquiries revealed that the alleged will in question is a subject matter of litigation in the court. Further checks at the Lands and Forestry Commission, the repositories of the records of the lands in question show no record of ownership of lands at the Achimota Forest or the Sakumono Ramsar site by the late Kojo Utofrie. Now, that said, given the totality of the circumstances of the said allegations, I, as Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and that refers to Abu Jinapor, have directed the Lands and Forestry Commission to deem any ownership of lands both in Achimota Forest and Sakumono Ramsar sites by the late Kojo Utofrie as void and are to take the appropriate actions accordingly. For the avoidance of doubts, the bequeathing of the aforesaid land, if established, will not pass any interest title to the named beneficiaries in the alleged will. These lands, the subject matter of the alleged will, shall remain public lands, whether or not it falls within the degazetted lands, pursuant to EI 144. And government will act on any improper acquisition of any public lands, regardless of how it was procured, whether now or in the past, and the Achimota Forest lands will not be exception. And it's signed by Honorable Samuel Abu Jinapor, his minister and also MP. Meanwhile, constitutional lawyer Martin Kpebu says the controversy surrounding the late CEO of the Forestry Commission sparks potential conflict of interest. He wants the Lands Ministry to be very open to the public to assure the citizenry that it has the state's interest at heart. He spoke earlier on the Super Morning Show.
Conflict of interest because on the outside, he is the fiduciary. He is supposed to protect the forest. He is a trustee. So he cannot turn around and own portions of things. No, a trustee is not allowed to buy this trust property. No. He's not allowed to own parts. Then he shouldn't be a trustee. So he is our number one fiduciary, managing everything as a trustee on our behalf. And then he turns around to acquire. And let's even give him benefit of the doubt. Assuming he got that before he came into office.
Exactly. What if he got that before he came into office?
Yeah, okay. So because of the, conflict of interest has three legs. We have the actual, we have the potential, and then the perceived. Then he was required to relinquish his interest upon assumption of, office. So that if he needed to take any action in respect of the forest, he would do so with a clean conscience. Do you remember, the Americans have this system. When Trump took office, you see, because of his vast business interests and all that, he was compelled to put that in a trust. Of course, it's not 100%, but at least he had to divorce ownership at that stage so that if certain actions came, he could, act diligently. So Sir John too, at a minimum, assuming he acquired the land before assuming office as the CEO of the Forestry Commission, had to relinquish his interest. But there isn't evidence that he was done. You see. So, and this quickly brings in the matter of Article 286 Clause 4. The matter that when a public officer acquires property, and then he cannot justify the income, how he acquires the property, same should be forfeited to the state. That's why and then something is good is also on this show. It's also a provision that is been very interested in, and our history shows it. But look, at the time a public officer is exiting, we must make it automatic for the person to come before SHRAG, a permanent standing committee of SHRAG, to justify all the assets he's acquired upon assuming office. Look at the will. Have you seen from September 2017, a house was purchased. February 2018, another house purchased. That's barely 5 months. Then 3 months later, May 2018, another house. Then you go to September or October, another house, and so on and so forth. So within 5 months, you buy a house, another 3 months, you buy. Hey, what kind of income? And what kind of business? Don't forget, in that office, he wasn't allowed to practice fully as a lawyer. And even if he was practicing, then maybe we'll need other lawyers who can show that every 3 months they earn so much that they buy houses worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So all these things don't bode well for our governance. The Constitution is being thrown to the dogs.
You heard the constitutional lawyer Martin Pebo. Now, the Ministry of Lands and Forestry has also been giving further details on the background and facts about the gazetted in the wake of the public scrutiny into the alleged sale, reclassification, and other matters arising. My colleague Raymond Aqua joins me via Zoom with the full details of the document shared by the Lands Ministry for some public education. Well, Raymond Aqua, Head of Research Desk, has joined me in the studio with more. Let's first look at what the document is saying.
So, there was some controversy about why did we give the Owu family 361 acres in the most recent EI when right from the beginning of this conversation, we had actually decided to give them just 92 acres. It is that question, that outstanding question, which seems outstanding to the ministry. That's what they responded to. You do recall that in the earlier statement, they dealt with the issue to do with Kojo Usofriye's will. But this particular one traces history. It tells us how we acquired those two lands, first in 1921 and 1927. Then how we moved it from the acquisition of these lands into paying for one and the other, no records showing that we are paid for it. Then we moved the process into now, during Kufuor's time, a petition received by the then government from the family of O demanding that they be given their due compensation, and they're giving them in the process. Now, it tells us in this report that the very final attempt by the Kufuor government to do this was in 2008. And November 24, there was an agreement. This agreement stipulated in part, according to the ministry statement, that some 92 acres was to be given to this family. Then subsequently, they could not do it because the Kufuor government left office. This was not executed. When Mills came in, a similar request was made. The people in the Lands Commission were also asked and tasked to do specific work related to this. Now, fast forward to the time in 2013 where government was given the opportunity to work on this program again. Under Idris Afuseni as Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, the issue came up again. In the first determination by the Forestry Commission, the committee set up to deal with this, actually proposed 118 acres. But according to the statement from the minister, the Lands Commission released 148 rather. So the 118 was in the commission's report. 148 acres was what was released to the family.
That's in conflict with the commission's report.
Yes, so that is what they actually pointed out first. And proceeded to say that since that time, there's been various back and forth on it. As minister, he said when he came into office, the issue came up again. He asked for some subsequent work to be done. The first work was done by the Forestry Commission, which submitted the figure. Then the Lands Commission went ahead to go and do a site visitation and prepared a different site plan. It is this new site plan that made reference to the 361.5 acres. Is the reason why we had to finally agree on giving them the 361.5 acres. So this is to do with, why have we given them 361? He traces the history and brings it to the point that he, as minister, actually commissioned the very final leg of the work into it. And this is why the technocrats in the ministry came up with, that's for the Lands Commission, came up with the report on the 361.5, together with a site plan indicating exactly the site that's supposed to be given to the old family, that's de-gazetted in this particular case. The only outstanding part of this, which is done, is what reasons did they give for the 361? Because one of the questions that will be hanging is that we don't know, I mean, generally, the compassionate grounds and the other things have been said, but in their report, what does the report say is the specific reason for the determination of the 361? Is it the final case that we finally visited the place and realized that that's the land to be given them, or it was still on compassionate grounds? Perhaps that's the only outstanding part of what's left in the minister's statement.
So definitely they're putting out this information for a reason. What does the ministry seek to achieve by putting out this information?
You know, there was the belief that government does not release lands to people, even if they own it or if they have to pay them for it, just because it's goodwill. That there could be some underhand dealings underneath all of this. He's basically telling you that the reason why we moved from giving them the 92, which was earlier determined, and under my tenure, we gave them the 361.5, was not because I intended to profit from the process. And mindful of what has happened with the release of Sir John's will, it looked like people suspected this was an attempt to inflate the acres to be given to the family so that government officials can benefit from it. He's basically saying that that was not the intent. We just followed the procedure and ended up where it's supposed to end up. And I am not a beneficiary. And he stated before as minister that he has not bought the lands and he was not interested in buying the lands. He's mindful of conflict of interest positions of the law in the country and will not proceed to have any interest at all in this. So this is to him a way of curing the suspicion that government increased the acreage from 92 to 361 so that it can benefit from the increase in there.
So, I mean, you heard from Martin Kpebu, who says that if indeed they want the public to trust the Lands Ministry, for instance, it must be very open and even actually go and show us the lands in question, so that we know when we see people developing on those lands, then we know that they've not told us the truth. Now, what will putting out this information do to the raging debate of the Achimota forest?
The interesting part is that the site plan that the minister says was submitted by the Lands Commission was not attached to this particular document. Perhaps that would have delineated exactly the area we are dealing with here, and maybe put to rest the controversy surrounding exactly what piece of land are we dealing with, and what happens to the rest of the piece of land, and what happens to the forest reserve intent in the original conception. That is really what's missing in this. But beyond that, the minister believes that by putting out all of the information and telling you that I didn't start the job, I met it in office, I only continue to do this as expected of me as minister in the performance of my duties in here, and I have no personal or pecuniary interest in this. So this is basically what he sought to do with it. As to whether people believe from what he has put out there, well, it's up to them to judge anyway.
Raymond Aqua is head of our research desk. I mean, this is an issue that we'll be following. It's just started. We'll see the end to it. And Trust Joy News will bring you all the updates that you need to know. Now, let's go to Canadia, where the polyclinic has been shut down. It is among dozens of facilities flooded following this morning's downpour. A number of major roads in Accra, including Teshuweja, Canadia itself and its environs, homes, property, including vehicles, have also been washed away by the flood. We'll be speaking with Ernest Ahimfo of myjournline.com. He's stationed there. Ernest, describe to us the current situation where you are. Hello, Ernest, if you can hear me, I want you to paint a picture of where you are right now.
Okay, so I'm currently at the Canadia Polyclinic, and as of now, all the patients that are coming in have been asked to look for other hospitals to seek health care from there because the whole facility has been shut down. And as of now, the hospital staff are those trying to clear the debris from the place.
So are there no patients visiting the facility?
Not that some are coming in, but as and when they get in, they are asked to return and look for health care from other facilities. Because the OPD department has been shut down, the place is flooded, the records department is flooded, the emergency department is also, the emergency ward, is also flooded, the pharmacy department is also flooded. So the entire facility is flooded as of now. So it's now that they are trying to clear the place. If they don't have water running through their taps at the moment.
So at the time this happened, didn't they have patients on admission?
Yeah, so they were not willing to speak on record, but as I went there and I asked that question, no answer was provided to me. But what I was told is that they don't have any patients with them at the moment. So I don't know if they transferred them to other facilities to, as it were, help them or not. Because the sources that we also have there, they told me that even yesterday, the facility didn't have light. So it was around 10 p.m. that they got 3 gallons of fuel to power their generator. So at the time that I went there around 9:30, the facility didn't have light. They didn't have light at all. So it was around 10:30 about that the light came on. So you could imagine, even if they had a patient who they were attending to, they couldn't have even done that without having light. So it presupposes that they didn't have light or they didn't have any patients at the time.
What are hospital authorities how do they feel about this? What have they been telling you?
I spoke to the hospital administrator, Madam Agbe, and she told me that she wouldn't want to be on record, but they are doing whatever that they can. She told me that they called NADMO and the district NADMO officers. They came in. When they came in, instead of them to do the work, they said they are going to rescue some people who have been stuck elsewhere. They went, as at the time I was living there around 12, the NADMO guys had not returned. So they actually asked me to proceed to the EMA office. When I went there, the office was also locked. So I don't know what the issue was. But then they said I called the NADMO PR George BC to connect him to them. But then when he picked up and I handed the phone to the lady, he wasn't hearing or the conversation wasn't clear, so the line actually dropped.
How are people reacting, especially patients who have had to be turned away because of this?
So the time that I was there, I met one lady. I presume she was a patient, and then she was visibly angry, speaking on the voice, why this and this, and then the nurses were trying to explain the issue, but this is the situation that they find themselves in. Because even where you said started, there's nothing at all that they can do. And you could also understand the nurses, their point of view, because nothing at all can be done. The entire facility has been started. So how to even access your folder is a problem for them. How to even access your folder is a problem for them. So they can't actually attend anyone as of now. So according to the hospital administrator, the entire day they will use it to try to clean the place and see if tomorrow they will be able to begin administering healthcare to patients that will visit the facility.
And Himfo is our reporter here at Multimedia. We'll still visit the hospital tomorrow, as he said, and see whether the hospital is operating and open to patients. Now, along the Ring Road Central and just beside the Paloma Hotel, we're told some victims have lined up along the Adabraka storm drain to salvage. My colleague Justice Beidou was there, and he has filed this report.
The unfortunate thing about this is we live with the president in the community. The president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, live next street. So if the president live next street and the gutter just behind his house is like this, then it's unfortunate. Because when the president even baths, the wastewater of the president ends here. And if the wastewater of the president ends here, and the wall is like this, the gutter is like this, then it's unfortunate. So we are appealing to him. He is a Nima boy. And this thing is it has happened just behind his house. So we are appealing to him. He should come to our aid. And this is also a piece of an advice to the MPP government. If they really say they want to break the 8, these are some of the things they should address. If really they say want to break the 8, if you want to break the 8 and you live in your big cars, in your big cars, in your big offices, and you sit there and you say you want to break the 8, it's your own cup of tea.
And yesterday there's a guy called Kobe. They used to send him many motorbikes. He repair and resell them. And yesterday when the thing started like 11 o'clock, we thought it is this. So we changed the place. Before we realized it's coming more and more and more and more. We cannot do anything again. And then a car that we just finished the body works like 6 days today. Green car, I think 2019, also vanished. And then seeing a lot of car and the way the thing is going, the water is shocking. And you cannot do anything. You know, you have to save your life than all these properties. So that's how she went.
So what did you lose yourself? Tell me the things that you lost.
Motorbike. My own motorbike and a friend's motorbike, all is six motor. But there, his is big. Mine is just a local one. Yeah, that's how it is. That's what I lost, yes. And then my neighbors, we can't talk again. Even my room is like swimming pool, sorry. Yeah, that's how it is.
Senior Presidential Advisor Yo Safo is worried that for the first time Ghana has become attracted to terrorist activities. He also cited the sub-region as an epicenter following recent attacks on neighboring countries. He made the point that considering Ghana's abundant mineral resources within the sub-region makes it magnetic to a possible attack, adding that for the fact that no attacks have been recorded does not shield it from possible attacks. The minister has therefore impressed upon all citizens to make it as their core responsibility to help fight and protect the country.
A country called Ghana were tasked with one sacred duty. The duty to, at all times, protect the peace, stability, and territorial integrity of the state of Ghana. But for the extraordinary commitment of successive generations to this sacred duty, our dear country would have crumbled
to a number of turbulent events in the past, which threatened to undermine its peace and stability before, during, and after independence. Our gathering here today, therefore, reminds us of the great sacrifices that our forebears made to keep this country safe. It provides yet another opportunity for us, who constitute the current generation, to renew our commitment to this holy duty assigned to us by our forebears. I am therefore honored to be here today as a keynote speaker for the launch of this all-important citizens awareness campaign dubbed See Something campaign, aimed at enhancing public awareness towards safeguarding our country against the threat of terrorism and violent extremism.
Senior Presidential Advisor Yao Safo there. We'll take a break on Joy News today. On we return, let's business.
Hello, good afternoon. Let's do business now with me, Beverly Broom. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, is projecting a further rise in the country's inflation rate. He, however, maintains that it will be at a lower pace before getting into the single band from next year. George Riafe has more.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, maintained that the rate hike should help slow the rate of inflation going forward.
It is a difficult time for all of us. Inflation is a canker and it affects the poorest most. The poorest households are the ones who feel it most. And this is why the MPC had taken the decision to decisively do all that we can, using the tools that are at our disposal to bring it down as quickly as possible. Well, the question about the slight pressure on the foreign exchange over the weekend, as you know, we are running a flexible exchange rate arrangement, and you would tend to see these movements in the exchange rate from time to time. The Bank of Ghana has intervention packages both for the BDCs and for other sectors every other fortnight or every fortnight.
He also maintained that they are getting the necessary complementary policy measures on the part of government to help deal with the current situation.
After the last MPC meeting, the Ministry of Finance also came out with measures to control government spending, an additional 10% cut to the 20% decision that had been made. So we were told that you would see a very big adjustment in government spending. That action is supposed to complement the monetary policy action and help drive inflation down. So both the monetary side and the fiscal side, I believe, are acting in concert.
But has the economy recovered from the shocks of COVID-19? This is what the governor had to say.
And therefore, anything that the central bank does to bring inflation down is growth supportive. We are actually supporting growth by trying to manage the inflation rate. So I don't believe that policy measures that try to raise interest rates are necessarily not supportive.
Dr. Ernest Addison also had some assurances for businesses that were worried about the recent spike in the cedi depreciation against the dollar over just last week. The governor of the Bank of Ghana also maintained that they are committed to taking the necessary measures to help check inflation and help stabilize the economy going forward.
Away from that, livelihoods of persons affected by the just completed 4th-tier Pokwase interchange have seen an improvement following support given by the African Development Bank, one of the financiers of the project. The bank, as part of its annual meetings in Ghana this week, has been taking some journalists on a tour of the facility to ascertain its relevance in the sub-region.
The African Development Bank supported the resettlement of some persons affected by the construction of the Pokwase interchange through the Government of Ghana's Economic Empowerment Initiative. The project, which was completed last year, saw the relocation of about 1,000 settlers and businesses along its surrounding communities. After media tour of the project by the bank, resident engineer Kwame Bimpong told journalists that all efforts are being made to ensure that the affected persons are not worse off.
For those who had economic activities, we ensured that they were adequately compensated, because that is the whole idea, not to make you worse off. You want to make you better. So if you were even on tabletop, we ensured, and then maybe also to add, that we provided markets for them. Markets, when you go in the market, we had some land and moved them. So we're not just moving them and leaving them without any economic activity. Now, right behind this 4th tier, when you go down there, we've also provided a terminal for the trotros and the taxis. There are 2 of them. One is up there and one is down there. We are yet to commission that. So invariably, those who were affected by the project negatively were adequately compensated.
Accompanying the team, infrastructure engineer and head of task at the African Development Bank office in Ghana, Sheila Enyonam Achia, hinted that the bank is committed to preserving livelihoods and biodiversity at every infrastructure site.
From the sacred grove, we created a reservoir so that they could take that safely. We have commercial vehicle operators that used to work at certain nodes in the project. We created car parks for them under the project so that they can still be able to do their work. Like I said, make sure that we are leaving the people we come to meet in a better off situation than we came to meet them.
The Pokwase Interchange project is one of the bank's landmark investments in Ghana since its establishment.
That's all for Business Now, but we have more business news when you log on to myjoyonline.com.
Muftar Nabila Abdullah here with sports on Joy News today. Welcome. Let's do some athletics where board chairman of the National Sports Authority, Seth Pamum, has charged Ghana Athletics to ensure that the athletes they discovered at the just ended Confederation of Africa Athletics Championship that took place at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium are fully developed to ensure that they are groomed to a stage they can compete against the best in the continent.
Our board that we chair now is doing all that we can to put in more resources into the various sports development, and athletics is one of the sectors that we are looking at. We shouldn't deny the fact that to develop a talent in athletics involves much capital. It's capital intensive, because we will need to put in resources that will require that we take the people outside, take the athletes outside for international competitions, training and development and those things. And government is committed to put in the resources. But what I've seen today, if we inject the needed capital into our training and development of the athletes, Ghana will produce many champions coming into the future. We have very good potentials, by what I've seen. And if they are developed, not allowed to just go roaming again for regrouping in 2023, but I'm calling by this calling on the Athletics Association to pick them up, particularly those who came champions in their various disciplines, and develop them and let us prepare them for the All African Games alongside the already identified talent, so that we can give competition in Ghana. So that when anybody coming up is picked up to represent Ghana, we'll be representing the best for the country.
Time now for Showbiz Updates. My name is KMJ. Actress and movie producer Yvonne Nelson has backed her colleague actor turned politician John Dumelo on his political ambition. Speaking in an interview, the outspoken actress said she believes John Dumelo will do well as a politician.
Do you think he'll be a better politician?
Better than the person there?
Well, I've not been following the president and what they're doing.
But do you think he will do well?
I believe in John. John is hardworking, and I believe that he thinks about the people. So, but hey, the next one, he stands a great chance.
Why?
I wish him luck. Oh, say, yeah, bonfire man, say. He's doing well.
If he's the next one, he stands a great chance. Then it means you've seen that the current MP.
Oh no! I've not been following. But MP's not. Because my area is the same way. Nothing has changed. Like, or they just go.
What do you expect of your MP?
Oh, same thing you expect.
No. Me, don't bring that man here. Everyone knows when I sit here, I know they give her a chance. So no, he can't even breathe. Moses and him.
And that's actress Yvonne Nelson. Away from that, British Ghanaian entrepreneur, actress, TV presenter, singer, producer, and manager Denta has detailed why she can't do music full-time now. In an interview on Showbiz A to Z on Joy FM, she explained that music is a full-time job and she's been very occupied, hence the decision not to do music.
Are you looking at getting back into music anytime soon, Denta?
No.
Oh, how?
No, I can't.
Why can't you?
Because music is a full-time.
Mm-hmm.
It's full-time, and what I'm doing is extra full-time. Into me the bekahwa.
And that was Denta over there in the studios of Joy 99.7 FM. For more news on that, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is KMJ. Aisha.
Let's try music, eh?
Won't be bad. What are we going to be called? Aisha or KMJ Sha?
We'll think about that. I will let our viewers know. But that's how we wrap up the bulletin tonight. This afternoon, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. Log on to myjoyonline.com. You get updates of all the developing stories. Enjoy the rest of our programs.